bus lot and out in the parking lot.
That would be good.
We got to
that
show people we drink our own champagne. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
What day was that again?
It's Wednesday, November the 10th. And I believe Alejandra has contacted all of you guys.
Right.
I just saw your meal choices for everyone. So
Oh, yeah.
you have until the end of the week if you want to change your mind about what you want to have for dinner.
Hi, Mayor Serta. Hi, everyone. Hi. Good evening. I just want to let you know we are ready to go.
Okay. All right. We're out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're good.
Thanks.
All right. So let's go ahead and begin tonight's Gardena City Council meeting for Tuesday, October the 26th, 2021. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Serta.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Here.
Councilmember Henderson.
Here.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Present.
Councilmember Francis.
Here.
All members of the council are present.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we're going to go into closed session. But before we do, Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on any closed session items?
No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Okay. All right, then we'll, in that case, then we're going to go into closed session and hopefully be back by 7:30 to start the meeting on time. Okay? All right. Let's everybody log off.
It's so exciting when we get stuff done. I love it.
Okay. Mina, are we live again, or Becky?
Yes, we are.
Oh, cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started then. Let's go ahead and get started. Um, Okay, so we're ready to begin tonight's Gardena City Council meeting for Tuesday, October the 26th, 2021. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Serta,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Here.
Councilmember Henderson,
Here.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Present.
Councilmember Francis.
Here.
All members of council are present.
Okay, thank you. And we just came from closed session. Madam City Attorney, do we have anything to report from closed session?
Yes, Madam Mayor. With regards to item 2A on closed session tonight, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Tonight, council authorized the initiation of litigation to bring a receivership action in connection with the property located at 2315 Marine Avenue in the city of Gardena. The vote was unanimous, 5-0, and that concludes my report from closed session. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And before we move on to our pledgers, let me just read this here. In order to minimize the spread of the COVID-19 virus, Governor Newsom has signed Assembly Bill 361. Please be advised that council chambers are closed to the public and that some or all of the Gardena City Council members may be attending this meeting telephonically. If you would like to participate in this meeting, you can participate via the following options. The first way is to view the meeting live on Spectrum Channel 22 or online at youtube.com/City of Gardena. The second way to participate is prior to the meeting. You can email the Deputy City Clerk at publiccomments@cityofgardena.org by 5 p.m. on the day of the meeting and write public comments in the subject line. The third way to participate during the meeting is that you can join the Zoom meeting via the internet. And the address is https://us02wb.zooms.us/88 313-525529. You can also call in. The telephone number is area code 669-900-9128, and the meeting ID number is 883-1352-5529. Press the number 9 to do the raise your hand feature, and the number 6 to unmute when prompted to. If you wish to speak on a specific agenda item during the meeting, you may use the raise your hand feature during the item you wish to speak on. For non-agenda items, you will be allowed to speak during oral communication, and during public hearings, you'll be allowed to speak when I open the public hearing. Members of the public wishing to address the City Council will be given 3 minutes to speak. So the City of Gardena thanks you in advance for helping us to take all the precautions to preventing the spreading of the COVID-19 virus. Okay, so that being said, we are going to move on to our Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, we have 2 students from 153rd Street Elementary School, and that is Armani Martin from the 5th grade and Christopher Benitez from the 4th grade. So after you guys lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, if you guys could just stay on for a few minutes afterwards, okay? And I think we're looking for Armani.
Mayor Serta?
Yes.
Excuse me, it just may be Christopher that will be leading us in the pledge this evening.
Okay, that's fine. All right, Christopher, it's all on you tonight. You can go ahead and unmute, and we will follow your direction when you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, everyone, let's go ahead. I pledge of allegiance. Let's click one more time, Christopher. There you go. Okay, I pledge of allegiance to the flag, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, Christopher. Stay online for a few minutes. If we can be led in tonight's invocation, Mayor Pro Tem, if you'll lead us, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let's pray. Father, we come to you tonight and we just thank you for the recent rains. It was just a blessing for us to have the air clean, all of our nature wet, and some water come down for which it hasn't for a long time. But thank you, Father, for that. And Father, we just thank you for continued COVID blessings, that the numbers are going down. A lot of people are deciding to get vaccinated. So Father, just be with those that aren't, those that are not quite sure, help them to make a wise decision as to their actions. Father, we also, we pray for the city of Carson with the awful smell that's happening in their city and the surrounding cities. Father, we just ask that a solution would be found and something good would happen and make this issue go away. Father, we pray for the family and for the Duarte mayor, Brian Reyes, who passed away unexpectedly 2 days ago. Father, we pray for continued peace and patience in the world. We pray for our nation and our leaders, that they continue to strive and make positive movement and decisions for us. And as always, Father, we ask and we pray for your continued guidance of our council, of what we do for our city, and the decisions that we make, allow them to be sound decisions, decisions that continue to make our city the gem of the South Bay. So Father, with all that we have asked for, we thank you for your love, your patience, and your glory. And for your Son's name and his sake, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So let's go back to our pledger tonight, Christopher. Christopher Benitez is in the 4th grade and he attends 153rd Elementary School. Christopher is a critical thinker who loves to share his ideas with the class. Christopher is a leader who takes initiatives and encourages his peers. He has a natural leadership skill and he uses that to help the teachers and other students with his strong academics. He is a shining star. So Christopher, we just want to thank you for leading us tonight in the Pledge of Allegiance, and we hope that you can come back in the future and do it again for us. All right, thank you. Give him a round of applause, everyone. Good job. Okay, and also I'd like to thank our Mayor Pro Tem for leading us in tonight's invocations. Always a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so let's move on here to presentation. So first, we have a presentation tonight by the South Bay Local Travel Network, and that is through the South Bay's City's Council of Government. I believe Jackie's on the line, and we have David Ledger and Aaron Brown coming before us.
Sorry, I just was allowed to join in. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your this opportunity to tell you about an exciting project that the entire South Bay is working on through the South Bay City's Council of Governments. And I'm here tonight with Aaron Baum, and David Leisure is going to be changing the our slide presentation. So if we can put the slides up, we'll tell you about it. And I want to thank Rodney Tanaka, who is our delegate and a great member of our board. We're going to talk to you about the Local Travel Network. This is an initiative that we started at the COG to try to find ways of providing safe, local transportation for people that want to get around the South Bay and want to do it in a fun way, but a safe way. We think it's a good way to support a lot of wonderful infrastructure that you can see these different kinds of modes of traffic, scooters, bikes, and neighborhood electric vehicles. And I don't know if you were here for a while, we did have a neighborhood electric vehicle project for a while, and people that drove our vehicles absolutely loved them. Let me go to the next slide. And this has been in development in the South Bay. We had a Caltrans grant to develop the concept of the local travel network. And in May of last May 2021, our board supported the implementation of this travel network. And I'll tell you why in the next slides. This, as I said, would provide safe, slow speed, zero emission vehicles that would go throughout the South Bay. The network would connect all of the cities. And so you could travel within Gardena and beyond Gardena. The motion that the board passed was to direct our staff to work with your staff to facilitate and coordinate the development, to recommend that we develop some streets, but we want to work with you to make sure that what we're looking at are the right places, and also to work on a plan where we could allow neighborhood electric vehicles in every city, which might require state legislation. The bottom is very important. The resolution doesn't obligate you to do it. You don't have to implement it, but we want to share with you the opportunity to implement it and work with your staff on how we could do it in your city. Next slide. What is it? It's a 243-mile network that would be on top of South Bay Street. Not one new street would be involved in your city. It provides safe and efficient routes for residents, and it's neighborhood to destination. It goes where they want to go. It would be a system of sharrows, which means the autos would share the streets, but we would have signage up that say you are now on the South Bay Local Travel Network, and it would be a place that people would expect to see bikes and scooters and these kinds of slow speed vehicles. There are a few places in the South Bay where we call them speed islands. You can't get there without some special designation on the road. None of those are in Gardena, but we would have to put in special lanes, and we would work on that as a second tier effort. Next slide. I think this is sort of what we're talking about. On the left-hand side is all of the streets in the South Bay. On the right-hand side is the local travel network. And Aaron is with us tonight, and it's great because he actually got on a bike and he rode all those purple lines. And it shows how they're connected city by city in the South Bay so that you really can get around. We did our best in designating streets, but we know working with your city and your staff, we can find streets that you might find would be better for this network. And that's what we want to do next. Next slide. What it is and what it isn't. We are not talking about rentals. We don't think, rentals don't work. People leave them around, they're scattered, they mess up your streets, but we want people to own them. If people own these vehicles, then they will take care of them, they will park them, they will be responsible for them. There's no dedicated right-of-way, they would share existing streets. And we wouldn't do a road diet, which means making the road narrower. We're talking about a vehicle diet, which is making the vehicles smaller and more neighborhood friendly. Next slide. These next two slides, I think, are really the crux of the whole matter. These are zero emission vehicles, so they would reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve air quality. Right now, 80% of the traffic in the South Bay is on 20% of the streets. So our major arterials are very crowded. We would sign local streets so that it would reduce congestion on major arterials and better utilize the existing street network. What we found out when we did our neighborhood electric vehicle project and we surveyed all of the data we got is that 70% of the trips in the South Bay are 3 miles or less. People aren't going that far. So going in a vehicle that goes 25 miles or less is not a burden because they're really not traveling that far. Parking, if there are parking problems in a neighborhood, we're talking about really small vehicles that can provide more room in neighborhoods to park, but also in your retail areas. If your restaurants are looking for more curb space, this would give them, you would be able to put more parking spaces in to retail areas. And then also it could be used for freight and food deliveries. As I said before, low-cost arterial congestion relief. It will take traffic off the arterials, and obviously it will reduce the residents' costs. You don't buy a $40,000 or $30,000 vehicle. You're buying a scooter or a bike or something that's $10,000 or less, and you don't have to buy gas, which is now becoming quite a burden. Next slide. This one, I think will really get you where you've been talking about, I'm sure, RHNA, the Regional Housing Needs Allocation. We did a calculation that if every city in the South Bay follows their RHNA obligation, we will have 30,000 new homes in the South Bay, which translates into 50,000 new vehicles. We really have to figure out a different way to get around. And this is a way to not have every one of those vehicles be a big car, but maybe something that's more fun and gets around and gets you where you need to go. It improves street safety when vehicles are going slower. There's less accidents and less serious accidents. I don't know if you're aware, but the California Air Resources Board will be offering rebates for buying electric bikes at the end of this year or early next year, so that there will be more opportunities and more interest in buying electric bikes. And we need as cities to find a safe way to have them travel throughout our communities. It provides a new amenity for residents, and it lowers the cost of their food delivery and packaging if somebody wants to use that. And then it encourages the green economy. We actually have 2 neighborhood electric vehicle dealerships in the South Bay. We have several bike shops, but this would encourage more of those kinds of businesses to come into the South Bay. Next slide. The South Bay Cities is working on a wayfinding project. This is really signage and street striping are the major parts of the South Bay Travel Network. So we're working on that. We're working with our cities to look at how we would implement this project. And also we're looking, and tonight we're hoping to get stakeholders and champions. When we did bring this at the May meeting of the Council of Governments, we had a lot of community support. People came and testified that this was something they wanted. Next slide. We can't do it all at once. And one of the reasons we're here tonight is we're starting with 2 demonstration corridors. The first corridor is Hawthorne, Gardena, and Lawndale. We've been to Hawthorne, and their city council unanimously endorsed us moving forward with looking at implementation of the concept. We're here tonight, and we're going to be talking with Lawndale. The second corridor is this Beach Cities corridor of these beach cities, and we've had some enthusiastic response from them as well. The good news for you is that we have Measure M funding, which is transportation funds for the region, and we believe we can finance this project, the planning and the implementation, through Measure M sub-regional funds, so that it doesn't have to come out of your city coffers. Next slide. I'm going to turn it over to Aaron now because he's the one that actually rode the streets. So Aaron, why don't you take it over from here?
Thank you, Jackie. Madam Mayor and council members, thank you for the opportunity. We're drilling down now into sort of what this is going to look like, we hope, when implemented. What you see before you is a slide of the corridor Jackie referred to just a few moments ago. And to reiterate, the operation of the network is simply this: neighborhoods to destinations. So what we're talking about, the purple lines really form a backbone, if you will, poking into neighborhoods where you know your own streets. You would find the local travel network, and then you would ride it to destinations. The key thing here in terms of safety is that crossings at arterials or major streets or corridor streets where there's high volume and high speeds is at controlled intersections. Next slide, please. What does this look like for Gardena? On the left are the local travel networks that we identified and I got to ride. We worked with your staff, actually, in an early iteration of the network. The basic question was, what streets should we use? I mean, we used mapping and GIS data. We drove around, but we leaned on your staff at some point early in the project to say which streets would they prefer. The map on the right really shows how the network, overlays on top of where we believe destinations are in your city. Now, you live in your city, you know your destinations. These are, things that we would want to work with your staff to validate. If we've missed something, we need to know it. We would, again, sort of drill down into this and then work through the process to take it before your community stakeholders and the council towards a Measure M project. Next slide, please. So just in terms of process of working this through, as Jackie said, we have already engaged other cities. We've met with Hawthorne's elected officials. We'll be meeting with their staff shortly. Today, we met with Lawndale's staff, and again, we'll be working back through their elected officials. The gist of it is this: we want to spend time with your staff who are experts, knowledgeable about your infrastructure, to look at the routes we've chosen. Did we get it right? Are there better routes? Are there better places to travel? And the destinations, do we pretty much have it covered? And then from there, work through your process internally towards developing a Measure M application. Next slide, please. Jackie?
Okay, we would like to ask cities to review and endorse the route segments when we get them. We're going to be developing an implementation budget and schedule. We would like cities to work with us to coordinate the continuity between the cities so that you'll be able to go between cities and promote your events. COVID stopped us in our tracks, as it did many. But what we want to do is we want to have ride and drive events. We want to bring vendors in who have these vehicles where people can actually see the kinds of things they could own to use for some of their local trips. And so we hope to have promotional events when the pandemic is really put to bed. We want to have grant applications that we will need city support on, and then implementing the other parts of this. For example, in retail areas, these charge on level 1 charging, but it would be nice to have areas where people knew they could get their vehicles charged, and also special parking areas in your retail districts. Next slide. And then we're hoping to get your endorsement to direct your staff to work with us, to supporting this as a Measure M project, and then to working with your colleagues in the other cities and to encourage the connections that the local travel network will have between cities. Next slide. Our timeline right now, we're talking to cities. We want to submit as many Measure M funding applications. We're going to be talking about signage and everything now, but by next fall, we're hoping that we'll be able to actually start implementing some of this on the road. Next slide. We have a story map, and this is the website, the site that you can go to learn a lot more. There's a survey on there, and Erin and I would be very happy to answer any questions that you may have. We want to thank you so much for your time and hope we can have your support on this very innovative and unique project.
Okay, thank you very much for that presentation. Does any member of the council have or staff, do you have any questions or comments? Let's start with Councilmember Cascani, and then we'll go to Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Jackie and Aaron, great presentation. Thank you very much. And David for the technical part of it. Appreciate that. Jackie, I have a question. If we can go, David, to a slide where it says Diet Road or the Diet Vehicle, that part. And I have a question. You mentioned that this part is not going to be any rentals or any, here we go, this one here. How the owners, like they have to buy like electric vehicles or scooters that, only they can drive on these particular streets?
Yes, and what we're talking about, as I said, the Air Resources Board is actually going to be providing an incentive for electric bikes. And one of the initiatives of the Council of Governments is to go to the Air Resources Board and ask them to provide rebates for all of these vehicles, so that if you write down the vehicles, they're going to be several $1,000s, or some will be under $5,000. A neighborhood electric vehicle could be $8,000. You can buy these today at, I think, Best Buy and Costco. So they're available, and we don't think rentals really work. And we think people should if people own these, then they'll be more willing to give up one of their second, third, and fourth cars.
Okay, so is this, let's say the Tesla vehicle will apply in these categories? I mean, if I have a Tesla, can I drive on this street?
No, the local travel network is only for vehicles that go 25 miles or less. This is what's called micromobility or slow speed vehicles. Teslas will be able to drive on any street, but this is a special dedicated place for vehicles that go slow, so that fast cars won't feel the need to, rush them off the road.
I see. So basically like golf carts or scooters, electric
yes.
scooters, that's basically
yes.
it. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't remember who had, I think Councilmember Henderson, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you, South Bay COG, for giving this presentation. Question I have in regards to the actual process. If we approve to allow us to do the study just to make sure there's some validity as far as picking the right streets and everything, and we choose not to implement, let's say in that time frame, does that Measure M go away, and would Gardena have to then implement later on its own, or should it be best to implement during the process?
Well, obviously it's a network, so we would like to do as much contiguousness as possible, but Measure M has no sunset clause. It does not go away. So we will be there for you when you're ready. And we can also, do segments of this because as I said, it doesn't sunset. It will be here for years and years and years.
Right. So the ask tonight is just to kind of see if we can prove you guys work with our staff to validate the lines that you've created in our city, right, just to make sure it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question. You mentioned that it was Hawthorne, Lawndale, and Gardena as the demonstration cities. I don't know, you may have already said so, but what was the criteria for the selection of our city as well as the other two cities?
I don't know. We wanted to do diverse areas of the South Bay. We wanted to do the beach cities where there are already a lot of these vehicles now. And then we wanted to do inland cities. And one of the reasons we wanted to do this is that in the areas that have, lower incomes, this is a fantastic way to save money on your travel. And so we wanted to try it in areas like that, but also we had strong support from Hawthorne. The Hawthorne City Council was very interested in it, and we felt that these three cities working together could be a good corridor. Aaron, do you want to add anything to that?
I think you pretty much hit the right notes, Jackie. This is an equity issue at the heart of it, I think, in terms of mobility. Again, so many of these kinds of projects roll straight into more affluent communities. We felt it extraordinarily important and timely to move forward here. Ultimately, it's about sustainability and climate action planning and doing something about it. Again, a lot of our disadvantaged communities here in the South Bay can really benefit from these kind of clean air solutions, if you will, in terms of micromobility, even all the way up to, as Council Member Kaskanian suggested, Teslas. I mean, that's the general idea here. So we think there's a great opportunity. You have plenty of great destinations and plenty of great streets for getting around and getting to them.
And I'm not so sure I would identify City Gardena as particularly disadvantaged, but however, how do you identify a success? How do you determine, how are you going to evaluate whether or not it's successful or?
That is a great question. Can I take a stab at that, Jackie?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I think success really can be measured a couple of different ways. One is just quantifying the number of folks who are using these kinds of micro mobility modes. I think anecdotally, over COVID, we've seen a whole lot of bikes out on the streets, and in terms of, even in your own community, you have a little industrial park on sort of the northeast side where there's a campus. We have a bunch of electric golf carts running around. I've seen them for myself. So we're going to build into this project metrics in terms of actual measurement. We're also going to be able to sort of track, if you will, the marketplace. Are these selling more, in fact? And I think the bottom line will be sort of surveying your community. We hope that these kind of fun, very local micro modes will be something that your community will say, yeah, we're excited about this. The ride and drive events are often a great place where we can demonstrate that.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? I had one question. I noticed you guys mentioned something about wayfinder signs that you'll be implementing. So right now, Gardena is like in the very beginning phases of doing something like that, wayfinder signs. I guess, would it be a way, I would hope that the signs would look very different from the ones that we're going to be looking to get. So would there be a way that maybe you guys could kind of work with our team just to make sure kind of,
Absolutely.
flows together?
This whole project has got to be done in conjunction with the cities. And we heard you were doing wayfinding signs, and this is perfect timing because we'll be starting ours and we want to make them pleasing to the cities, but we want your input. If you want them completely different, okay. If you want them the same, that's also important for us to know. So, okay. So this is perfect timing, and definitely we'll work with you on that.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I just have one more quick question. How long, I don't know if you said, so how long is this project? I mean, is there like a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year? What's your time frame?
It's a lot of cities, and we're starting with these 2 corridors because we're hoping that in these 2 corridors we could get something on the ground maybe at the end of 2022. But we right now we're going to be designing signage, so nothing can go up until then. After that, we want to extend it throughout the whole South Bay. So it'll take several years. I mean, it won't happen overnight. We have to work with the other cities that are Torrance and a lot of the other cities and connect everybody up. So it's going to be a multi-year project.
So this is the vehicles you're talking about. They're kind of like the scooters that we see in other cities. Is that you?
They're scooters, but they're owned, and also the neighborhood electric, like the golf carts. One of the things that I always call the golf cart vehicles or the neighborhood electric vehicles, I call them the first and the last vehicle, because for seniors, they're fantastic. They don't go more than 25 miles an hour, and they get them the mobility that they need. For students, if you want to get your child to high school and you don't want them to drive the big main car, this one only goes 25 miles an hour, and it's cheap. It's not expensive. And so they're really great second, third, and fourth cars in people's homes. And so we're talking about there's Segways, which are balance vehicles, a lot of different things that the category for us is zero emission vehicles that go under 25 miles an hour.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a lot of these in the beach community areas. So
right,
they're pretty neat. Any more questions or comments?
Thanks, Jackie.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, I think they're looking for a motion from you guys authorizing staff to work with the South Bay COG, South Bay Local Travel Network. Is that correct, Ms. Blackrock?
Yes, we'd like that.
So here's a question I have. Do we do that tonight in directives, or would now be the appropriate time, Carmen?
You could do it at this moment, especially since we just had the presentation at this time. And I would seek a regular motion rather than just a regular directive.
Okay. I will let our rep.
So moved.
I'll let you make the motion. You'll make the motion.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And we need to take a formal vote. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
So, Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you,
so
Jackie.
much.
Thank you guys all.
Have a good evening.
All right.
Bye,
Thank
Aaron.
you.
See you, David.
Okay, so let's move on. We have one more presentation tonight, and that is coming from Miss Jessica Koo Kim, who is the Vice President of the Economic and Workforce Development Board. And this is in regards to the upcoming Eddie Awards. And the official name is the Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation. And my understanding is Gardena has made it to the finalists as being one of the most business-friendly cities in the category we're in. So we're going to turn it over to Ms. Kim.
Thank you for having me here today. On behalf of the Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation, it is my pleasure to honor the city of Gardena as a Gold Award recipient and finalist in the 2021 Most Business-Friendly City in Los Angeles County Award during and in response to COVID-19. This award recognizes and celebrates the city of Gardena's demonstrated contributions to economic development in the region that prioritize creating a supportive environment for business recovery, reinvention, resiliency, and growth during and in response to the pandemic. Our judges were impressed by your innovative and business-friendly programs and resources dedicated to support business resiliency during this pandemic. In particular, some key highlights that impressed our judges include your commercial tenant protection moratorium, your commitment to keep business development projects moving forward, especially housing, Gardena's Small Business Assistance Program, your economic development departments supporting the restaurants with social media and delivery services, Gardena Awaits COVID-19 Resource Guide, your restaurant video series, and your economic development department's COVID-19 dashboard, reopening guidelines, business visits, your child care assistance programs, and your South Bay Fiber Network, just to name a few. We applaud all your efforts and encourage you to continue developing and evolving business-friendly services and to get the word out to your local business communities, your brokers, your site selectors, media, and of course, LAEDC, so we can continue to support business and worker resiliency during this pandemic. As a private nonprofit organization, LAEDC just celebrated our 40th anniversary and history of driving action in support of a reimagined Los Angeles regional economy that is growing, equitable, sustainable, and resilient, and provides a healthy and high standard of living for all. Just like it takes a great team at LAEDC to accomplish our mission and vision, we know that this award was made possible by the city's visionary leadership, your leadership, and of course, your dedicated staff. As a resident of Gardena, I'm also very proud and would like to thank you for your service. So on behalf of the LAEDC, I would like to present the City of Gardena's Mayor and City Council with a certificate of gold honoring this accomplishment. We look forward to seeing you on November 10th at the Eddie Awards at SoFi Stadium. I will drop off the award, but as a preview, here you go and thank you.
All right. Very nice. Thank you very much, Ms. Kim. First off, thank you for being a resident here in Gardena. We appreciate that a lot. That's a good thing. And we're feeling really good about this year, you know.
Well, congratulations. I mean, I was really proud. I did not score Gardena's, obviously, as a resident of Gardena, but I read through it afterwards and just am really proud as a resident of everything you all have done to support our community. So thank you.
Well, thank you, because it's a huge honor to make it to this point to finalists. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. And we'll be looking forward to even just putting up that certificate right there. So, okay. Yeah. With that, we are going to, I'm sorry, did anybody else have any quick comments before I go on? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Kim. And we'll see you on November the 10th. Okay. So next we are going to move on to our consent calendar. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on anything on our consent calendar?
No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Does any member of the council, thank you. Does any member of the council wish to speak on any item on the consent calendar? No? Okay. If not, then can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar as is?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is Planning and Environmental Quality Commission action sheet. We have one item on here, item number 10A, and this is in regards to development for a new soccer facility on a 1.49 acre. And this is near the, what was this intersection? It's literally off of 139th and, why is this actually on here? Between 139th and, it's between Western and Normandy here. At this time, does any member of the council wish to pull this item for review? Councilwoman Francis? Okay.
Yes, I would.
Okay, so because the new ordinance hasn't gone into effect yet, we can go with one person calling for review on this item. So it'll go into effect. There's a little footnote here on the 29th of this month. So we'll go ahead and call for review on that item. And Madam City Clerk, I believe, like a month out or so when it would come back before us?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
Madam Mayor, this is Councilman Henderson. Is it inappropriate for me to ask a question on this item? I know we're going to talk about it later. I just have one question.
Carmen?
You can ask your question, Councilman Henderson, if you think you need to answer tonight.
Okay.
Although it is being called for review.
Okay. My one question is, Mr. City Manager, if this goes through, would we be able to count this and incorporate this as part of our green space calculation?
I'm not sure on that, but I don't think we can.
Okay, thank you.
Simply because it's just a commercial soccer field that we're looking at here, and it's not essentially quote unquote green space. Very much like a tennis courts.
Okay. Any other questions or comments at this time? No? Okay, well, this will be coming back before us in about a month or so. Okay, so next we're going to move on to oral communications. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak at this time? I'm sorry, you muted.
No, we do not. Pardon me. No, we do not.
Okay, thank you. So let's move on to departmental items. First item up is item number 11A. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 11A is to approve the 3-year agreement for purchase of Sophos firewall enhancement. With the ever-changing and increasing uses of technology by the city, staff respectfully recommends purchase of Sophos XGS 6500 security appliance Extreme Protection as an enhancement to the city's existing firewall to safeguard sensitive information and prevent potential attacks on the city's network. This comprehensive next generation firewall protection has been built to expose hidden risks, block both known and unknown threats, and automatically respond to incidents as follows. First, to expose the hidden risks, superior visibility into unknown applications, risky activity, suspicious traffic, and advanced threats, and helps to regain control of the network and provide deeper insights. Second, blocks unknown threats, powerful next-gen protection technologies like deep learning and intrusion protection, and keeps organizations secure from the latest hacks and attacks. And lastly, automatically responds to incidents. Synchronized security automatic threat response instantly identifies and isolates compromised systems and prevents network breaches and lateral movement. 3 quotes were obtained by staff. The first one is from firewalls.com Inc. For $131,954.28. From CPAC Inc. for $154,958.58. And Terakai for $162,095.75. Therefore, staff recommends purchase of 3-year contract from firewalls.com Inc. in the amount of $131,954.28 for a contract period beginning 11/1/2021 through 11/1/2024. The total cost over the 3-year contract period is $131,954.58, with no impact to the general fund. What's required is approve this 3-year agreement.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? No? Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on this?
No, we do not, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Councilmember Henderson, did you have your hand up or was that just a wave?
I was a wave, but then I had a question for Mr. City Manager. In regards to the replacement in 3 years, are we doing like a technology refresh fund so we can budget moving forward as technology wanes? Okay.
Yeah, we have we have a computer and equipment replacement fund now. It's part of our internal service funds, very much like we have infrastructure and very much like we have vehicle replacement. So we're putting in little by little into these sub funds so we can actually forecast what we're going to need in 3 or 5 years from now. So in 3 years from now, who knows what these things are going to cost, but it's going to be something that we are going to need. So we are going to be budgeting for that, putting money away so that in 3 years, we have a pot of money that we can count on in order to purchase these things.
Thank you.
Any more questions or comments?
Just a quick one, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead.
So this is an enhancement of what we currently have already established. And what happens if there's an issue of concern? Is there some type of service agreement that we can call and say, hey, something happened?
That is correct. This is, fully supported by both the vendor that we're purchasing from and from actual Sophos firewall. We currently have Sophos right now. This is, and like I said, it's an enhancement. And it's an addition to what we currently have. As you know, more and more of us are using Zoom, for instance. And so we need, sufficient firewall in order to block, threats. We are being hit by ransomware. We are being hit by hacks on a daily basis. Well, we don't see them. As Councilman Henderson would know about this. We just don't see it, but we are getting hit by hacks every single day. And yes, the protection that we have from Sophos is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And one more question. Is this a new vendor or is this the current vendor? We're just continuing on?
This is a current vendor that we are enhancing our product.
Okay.
Yeah, and we also have cyber liability in our insurance policy. So we have layers upon layers of security built in so that in the event that we get intruded, then we have a lot of protection.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions or comments? Councilman Cascani?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was going to ask, he did answer my question, but how much are we covered for, the liability? If those people, they ask for like $5 million ransom, to release everything. So what's the limit?
I don't have the limits in front of me right now because there's different limits that we have. We have deductibles. If you want, I can research that further and then provide you with an answer. As far as you looking primarily on cyber attacks, let's say we get ransomware and then they ask, $10 million, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. So in case we get, locked or something, that's whatever they did, and they want ransom, $5 million ransom, are we covered or not? Or what's our limit?
We actually have a current total liability of $2 million. So how that is divvied up as far, because there's different ransomware and there's different criteria that FBI categorizes that as X, Y, and Z. The total liability we have is around $2 million.
Thank you.
It's not that much, but okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, but we're not giving up the money. Pull it out the general fund. No, they can have it. But what I do like is the fact I'm looking at none of this is coming out of the general fund. Our funding sources are all these other places, G-Trans, AQMD, and all that. So I think that's a good thing right there. So I like that. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay. If not, can I get a motion to approve the 3-year agreement for the purchase of Sophos firewall enhancement?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Yes.
And Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, the next item up here, I'd like to just take it out of order here for just a moment. I'd like to go to item number 13A first. And then we're going to come back to 12A after going through these other ones here, if the council doesn't mind. Okay, Mr. City Manager, go ahead.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council. Agenda item 13A is ordinance number 1835, introduction of an ordinance changing the date of the city's general municipal election from the first Tuesday after the first Monday in March of even numbered years to the date of statewide primary election in even numbered years in response to Senate Bill 970, adjusting terms in office accordingly. In November 2017, Council adopted Ordinance 1782, changing the city's general municipal election from March of odd-numbered years to March of even-numbered years, beginning with the election of March 2020 to coincide with the statewide primary election date and thereby comply with SB 415. Subsequently, in September 2020, California legislature adopted SB 970, which changed the date of the statewide primary election to different dates depending on whether it is a presidential election year. Under SB 970, the statewide primary election will be held in June of even-numbered years without a presidential election and March of even-numbered years with a presidential election. The city's general municipal election can no longer be held in March of years without a presidential election because there is no longer a statewide election date. Proposed ordinance 1835 would move the city's general municipal election date to the date of the statewide primary election in even numbered years, beginning in 2022. The effect of this change would be that the city's elections would be held in June of 2022, March of 2024, June of 2026, March of 2028, etc. By changing the date of the general municipal election to the date of the statewide primary election, it is necessary to extend the terms of incumbents that would have been scheduled for election in March 2022. The legislature adopted Senate Bill 590 in July 2021, which authorized the extension of these terms to the statewide primary and is a necessary legislative fix for a situation created by the legislature. SB 590 only allows the city of Gardena to move its general municipal election to the 2022 statewide primary election code 10403.5B. Proposed ordinance 1835 would also result in a one-time 3-month increase in the terms of the mayor, city treasurer, city clerk, and those members of the city council presently serving whose terms would otherwise have expired in March 2022. If the city council adopts ordinance number 1835, the city clerk will transmit a certified copy of the ordinance to the clerk of the LA County Board of Supervisors with a request for approval. The ordinance does not become operative until approved by the LA County Board of Supervisors. Within 30 days that the Board of Supervisors approves the ordinance, the city clerk must mail a notice to all registered voters in Gardena, which is currently 35,615 residents, of the change in election date and effect thereof of elected officials' terms of office. It is estimated that printing and mailing notice to all Gardena registered voters will cost approximately $14,326 from the general fund. What is required tonight is to introduce Ordinance 1835, changing the date of the city's general municipal election from the first Tuesday after the first Monday in March of even numbered years to the date of the statewide primary election in even numbered years in response to Senate Bill 970 and adjusting terms in office accordingly, and to appropriate $14,326 from the general fund for the required mailing notices.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? No? Okay, if not, can I get a motion to, well, actually, we need to take a vote before we introduce this here. So can I get a motion to introduce ordinance number 1835, which changes the date of the city's general municipal election from the first Tuesday after the first Monday in March of even numbered years to the date of the statewide primary election in even numbered years in response to Senate Bill 970 and adjusting terms in the office accordingly?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilman Kaskanian and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you call the roll?
Councilmember Kaskanian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Paulette Francis, Councilmember Francis,
Yes, yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. So I guess for technical terms, Councilmember Kaskanian will be the one who introduced this since he was the first one who voted for this.
That is correct.
Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so next is item number 13B, which is the COVID-19 update.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, tonight's COVID-19 update is an update from the previous 2 weeks. There is a case count differential of 101 cases. So we are up 101 cases from the last time I reported our case count, and the death count is +2. So we went from 210 to 212 as of today. For our vaccination rates, age 12 and above, we are at 79.6%. For a youth category, which is 12 to 17, we are at 64.9%. And for our seniors, which is 65 and above, we are at 89.9%. We do have our COVID testing site over at Raleigh Park. And since August 23rd, 2021, their total of residents tested is 1,085, which is an additional 172 since the last meeting, which averages about 20 residents per day on testing.
Okay.
That concludes my COVID-19 report.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? No? Okay. Let's move on to item number 15A. And mind you, I did not forget 12A, but we are going to come back to it.
Okay, I was just.
This one is
All right, I just thought you reacted that like.
Just so the council understands, the reason why is that the reason we're bringing 12A pertains to SB 1383, and you're going to be receiving a presentation on SB 1383 under 15A. So it'll make more sense to discuss the 12 item after you hear 15A.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Carmen. So next up, we're going to have item number 15A. Mr. City Manager.
All right. Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 15A is ordinance number 1837, repealing chapter 8.20 of the Gardena Municipal Code, adopting a new updated chapter 8.20 and updating chapter 2.60 of the Gardena Municipal Code to incorporate provisions of Senate Bill 1383 and regulations adopted by CalRecycle. In September 2016, Governor Brown signed into law SB 1383, establishing methane emissions reduction targets, representing the next step in California's environmental protection strategy. Methane emissions result from the decomposition of organic waste in landfills and are a substantial source of greenhouse gas emissions. Organic waste, such as green materials and food materials, are recyclable through composting and mulching and through anaerobic digestion, which can produce renewable energy and fuel as a byproduct. Edible food is recyclable through food recovery programs. SB 1383, directed by the Department of Resources, Recycling and Recovery, otherwise known as CalRecycle, to adopt regulations and requirements to achieve statewide goals, including a goal to reduce organic waste disposed in landfills by 75% by 2025. SB 1383 regulations, effective January 1st, 2022, make organic recycling mandatory for all generators of organic waste, including residents and places that burden on local jurisdictions to enact and enforce ordinances and other enforceable mechanisms to comply with all SB 1383 regulations. Compliance with the regulations requires the city to amend its municipal code by January 1st, 2022 to address the new requirements. The code must provide for commercial and residential organics waste collection programs, edible food recovery programs, procurement mechanisms for recycled content products, etc. The city must also provide enforcement of organic waste diversion through education programs, inspections, and imposition of penalties. However, to provide sufficient time for organics generators to come into compliance with new requirements, penalties will not be imposed until January 1st, 2024. CalRecycle also has the authority to penalize non-compliant jurisdictions up to $10,000 per day per violation. However, in recognition that jurisdictions need time to fully implement the new requirements, so long as the city files a notice of intent to comply along with an implementation plan for phased compliance, it can be protected against such fines during calendar year 2022. Penalties may be assessed retroactively if a jurisdiction is found to be non-compliant with the implementation plan included with a notice of intent. HF&H Consultants LLC was retained by the city to analyze and recommend updates to the Gardena Municipal Code to incorporate the requirements of SB 1383 by updating Chapter 8.20, which is a solid waste and recyclable collection and disposal, and adding Section 2.60.180, recycled content paper procurement requirements for city departments, direct service providers, and vendors, to Chapter 2.60, which is a purchasing system. Ordinance 1837 presents a substantially revised Chapter 8.20 and an amendment to Chapter 2.60. Adoption of this ordinance, which is required by state mandate, is exempt from CEQA. CEQA Guidelines 15061 C3 provides that the project is exempt from CEQA when it is covered by the general rule that CEQA only applies to projects which have a potential for causing a significant effect to the environment, and does not apply when it can be seen with certainty that there is no possibility of significant effect. Therefore, staff respectfully recommends that the City Council introduce and on second reading adopt ordinance number 1837. Financial impact, Public Resources Code Section 42652 authorize local jurisdictions to charge and collect fees to recover the costs incurred in complying with the regulations. After enactment of the ordinance, staff will recommend a fee or fees to compensate for these costs. What is required tonight is to introduce ordinance number 1837.
Okay, thank you. So does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time? No? Okay, we have Ms. Debbie Moore. One second, Councilwoman. We have Ms. Debbie Morris, who's on the panel here with us. Before you ask your question, Ms. Morris, did you have anything that you'd like to add before I open up the questions?
No, that's fine. I do have a presentation. I think the city manager gave a good summary of what we'll be going over tonight. Okay. And so that kind of helped start my presentation. So I'm open to any questions before or after the presentation.
Okay, well, Councilwoman, let's go ahead and ask your question now then.
I'll wait for the presentation.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and have a presentation now.
Okay. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, well, we practiced this earlier today and it worked. So we will try this again. Let me start over. Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Okay, well, this is really disturbing. I apologize. We actually did practice this and it worked earlier today. So
we can take a couple of moments.
You know what? Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Now can you see my screen?
Yes, we see it.
Great, thank you. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. It never fails for me with Zoom. So good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. It's good to see you all again. I know we went over and we gave a presentation on SB 1383. So at the beginning of the presentation, I'll just give a brief overview. As I said, I think the city manager gave a great summary of that during his reading of the staff report. So we'll be going over, as I said, we'll do a brief overview of SB 1383. Then I'll discuss the ordinances which are required by SB 1383 to be adopted by jurisdictions by January 1, 2022. And then we'll go into the next steps. So SB 1383 addresses climate change's negative impacts on California. And SB 1383 targets organics. And it requires that all organics generators, residential and commercial businesses and food distributing entities, they divert organics from landfills, because what happens when organics go into landfills and they decompose, they emit methane gas, which is a super pollutant. SB 1383 also targets edible food disposed at landfills. In 2017, there were approximately 27 million tons of organic waste disposed at landfills. And a lot of that was edible food. And when I'm talking about edible food, I'm talking about not from a household where you're throwing away an apple or something like that, but it's from edible food generators, such as restaurants, food distributors, where they have food that really is still edible, but they're not using it, so it's going to the landfill. So it does have provisions to connect those edible food generators with food recovery and distribution organizations to help the food insecure. Because right now, 1 in 8 Californians are food insecure, and 1 in 5 children in California are food insecure. The timeline for SB 1383, so where we are right now is in this middle bar, January 21, 2022. We need to adopt the ordinances or other enforceable mechanisms in order to help with the negative effects of methane and helping with the edible food. The 1383 2030 statewide goals are to reduce black carbon by 50%, methane by 40%, and hydrofluorocarbon gases by 40%. Hydrofluorocarbon gases are what come out of your aerosol, and then the black carbon is what comes out of its incomplete combustion of fossil fuels and biomass and other fuels. And then methane, of course, we've already talked about. A great contributor to methane is the organics going into the landfill and also the dairy industry. So SB 1383 also addresses some of the dairy industry, the Short-Lived Climate Pollution Act addresses the dairy industry also. But of course, we'll be going over the jurisdiction requirements tonight. So the jurisdiction compliance requirements are that you need to offer an organics collection program, inspect and enforce compliance, recover edible food, educate generators, procure recovered organic waste products, and where we are tonight is implementing ordinances and policies. Required ordinances under SB 1383 are for recycled content paper, model water efficient landscaping, mandatory recycling and organics ordinances for all generators, and enclosure space allocation for recyclables and organics. And in the next few slides, I'll go into more detail on all of these. So for the recycled content paper, we have done an amendment to Municipal Code Section 2.60 in order to include the requirements of SB 1383 that all vendors providing paper products to the city have to certify a recycled content of not less than 30%, and the jurisdiction has to include copies of invoices, receipts, and others proof of purchases that describe the volume and type of all paper purchases, and certifications provided by vendors. And those would go into an annual report. First, they would go into the implementation report, which is due March 1st, 2022 to CalRecycle. And then also they would be reporting that annually to CalRecycle in their electronic annual report. SB 1383 model water efficient ordinance requirements are to ensure the minimum application of compost and or mulch for landscape installations. And then again, there is an annual reporting requirement for jurisdictions that they report the number of projects that are subject to Section 18989.2 of SB 1383 to report on those projects that meet the minimum application of compost and mulch. The mandatory recycling and organics ordinance, this is the big one. This was, we've really updated Municipal Code Section 8.20, and this includes collection and processing of recyclable materials. And so what that means is, what is your collection system going to look like that you're going to offer your residents and your commercial businesses? And then also there's very prescriptive processing requirements of what's going to happen to those organics. What facilities are they going to go to, and how is that material going to be processed? And that's been incorporated into Municipal Code Section 8.20. There's also contamination minimization requirements, and those will be done by your solid waste hauler as far as doing route reviews where they're actually looking in containers to see if there is contamination in either the food is in the refuse container, or the recycling's in the refuse container, or there's refuse in the organics container. So all of that, and then they do some public education and outreach to those customers to help them understand how to properly segregate the materials. I touched on this before, there are facility standards. So there are standards on the facilities of where this material can be taken that they are held accountable for. There's significantly expanded reporting on an ongoing basis to Cal Recycle for all of these items. There's approval of collection waivers. So there are some waivers, and those are for de minimis amounts of organic material that customers may have such a de minimis amount of organic material, they can get a waiver. These waivers are only for businesses and for multifamily. They are not for single family residential customers. There's also space constraint waivers if there just isn't room for another container. However, Cal Recycle is expecting that those won't be long-term waivers, that the city will work with the community in order to make space for those additional containers. There's also a self-haul waiver if they can prove that they are self-hauling the organic material to an organic facility, and they do have to provide proof to the city for that. There's the edible food generator and food recovery organization compliance, issuances of notices of violation, and the issuance of civil penalties by the city does not need to start until January 1, 2024. And reporting of information that may not be reasonably delegated. So the enclosure space allocation for recyclables and organics. So SB 1383 requires that all new developments and additions to developments ensure adequate space for recycling and organic container storage. And it also requires that the city reports on an annual basis the number of C&D debris activities in compliance with that space allocation requirement. The next steps, the first reading tonight, we're doing on October 26, 2021. The second reading will be is scheduled for November 16th, 2021. And then the SB 1383 requirements take effect on January 1st, 2022. And that is the end of my presentation. And I am certainly available to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions at this time?
Yes, so you're talking about an additional, because we have 3 now. We have one for, we really have no choice. Is that essentially there's something it's a must do?
This is a must do. And as the city manager explained during his presentation of the staff report, SB 1383 does include very harsh penalties for jurisdictions for non-compliance. So as he stated, it's up to the highest penalty you can get. And these are for, jurisdictions that just ignore the requirements altogether, is $10,000 per day per violation. So let's say you didn't pass your ordinance and you didn't do a collection program. Those are 2 violations. So that would be $20,000 per day, for a major, what they consider a major violation.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? I did have one question. When you were speaking about the enforcement portion, and maybe I just missed this, is that Gardena will have to assign a person to be enforcement, or is there another outside agency?
It's on the jurisdiction. It's a requirement of the jurisdiction that they actually start penalizing organic waste generators and self-haulers and facilities and whoever else isn't abiding by the ordinance by January 1, 2024. And what they felt is that this is such a new program and the changes are so huge that they really wanted that 2-year period to offer jurisdictions the ability to have that 2-year period to really do public education and outreach. Jurisdictions can start enforcing with penalties before that, but like I said, because these are such huge programmatic changes and really changing people's behavior, that public education is going to be very important. And it could be, most likely it would be done by a code enforcement officer. You can't delegate that. We're delegating a lot of the responsibility with negotiations and amending your solid waste agreement, but we can't delegate, the fining of generators to the solid waste hauler.
Okay. And so the other part that you mentioned, you said the recovery. Can you kind of paint me a scenario of what that's like in the sense of we have our code enforcement person goes out there and they notice that maybe a business is throwing away certain things. Are they pulling it out of the trash can and then saying, hey, donate this? Or are they saying, okay, in the future, moving forward? What's that recovery portion like? I'm not quite understanding that.
That's another education part. So what the city has to do is they have to identify and give the list to Cal Recycle of what they call the tier 1 and tier 2 food waste or edible food generators. Okay. And so the tier 1, for example, are your big food distributors, your very large grocery stores, your Costco's, your Sam's Club and things like that. And they have to, those edible food generators, they have to have an agreement with a food recovery program, with a food recovery organization. And so what they would do really, so the city does not a lot of enforcement on the city's part. On that part of it, you just need to make sure that those edible food generators can be connected with the food recovery organizations. So the city's requirement is to identify those edible food generators and then also provide a list on their website of all the food recovery organizations within the city or within the surrounding areas that then the edible food generators can partner up with to ensure that that good edible food is not going to landfill, but again, is being distributed to the citizens in need.
Okay, so now I have two questions for you. So in my understanding of this, let's just say you go into a Ralph's and when certain things like bakery gets a little old and they put it in the day old section. So are you saying that at that time, Ralph needs to have some type of nonprofit that gives away food free or something like that, that they then hand it over to them? Is that kind of my understanding of it?
Yes.
Okay. And is that technically, and this is my second question, is that technically what the term of food generator is? Because I'm still not quite understanding.
Yes. So an edible food generator, like I said, they're like your Ralph's. Mm-hmm. They're like restaurants, and they're like your big food distributors, so I don't know if I'm going to really age myself here, but, the Helms Bakery, mm-hmm. Those big things, okay. And, or you might have a meat processor. Mm-hmm. Those would be your food generators. Okay. And so what they want to make sure is that food is still edible. But, if you think about it, a good way to think about it is your Ralph's, where, things maybe aren't, maybe they have produce that isn't the prettiest and they don't want to put out in their produce section, but it's edible. It's perfectly fine. Okay. Right. And so it would be good for that to find its way to people in need. Also restaurants, at the end of the night, they have a lot of prepared food because they have to prepare enough to make sure they have enough for need, but they have it left over. And so in order to get those to those food recovery organizations so that good food can then be distributed.
Okay, and then one last question that you made me think of just recently. Mm-hmm. So let's just say a company like Ralph's, their day old food, they give it to an organization and somebody were to get sick. Are they released from liability then because now they've donated this?
Yes, there is the Good Samaritan Act that was passed in California, which releases when someone is donating food to an edible food recovery organization, then that releases them from any liability for any foodborne illness.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Any other questions, Mark, then Paulette?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Morris, thank you for that presentation. Question I have is in regards to how does the jurisdiction audit that the food generator is actually maintaining that relationship, and how frequent should code enforcement be doing that type of check? And in this program, is there going to be some specialized training for code enforcement? Because right now they're kind of trained to do a certain type of code enforcement. Now this is a new skill set that they have to now become knowledgeable about. How would that work?
So as far as auditing the edible food generators, and that has to be done on an annual basis. And we were hoping, and this just came, I just got notification of this the other day. A lot of cities within LA County, and especially contract cities that contract with the LA County Health Department to do their inspections, they were hoping that they could contract with the LA County Health Department to help them with those inspections of the Tier 1 and Tier 2 generators, since they're already out there doing those inspections anyway. And I got notification the other day that from one of my other contract cities in LA that they reached out to the health department and they said they would not do that. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of puts, I am going to a meeting on Thursday, or listening in on a meeting on Thursday, where I believe this is going to be discussed further with the LA County Health Department. And I'll certainly keep staff apprised of anything I hear from that meeting or any updates that I hear. But then the code enforcement would need to go out. They would need to check to see, yes, does that edible food generator have an agreement with a food recovery organization, because that is the requirement, that they have this agreement with the food recovery organization.
And the frequency is only once a year?
Yes.
That occurs at the jurisdiction's expense? Okay.
It's a lot of work, and I'm not going to, I don't want to sugarcoat this at all. I mean, this has put on, it is an unfunded mandate, SB 1383, and the requirements are so onerous on the jurisdictions. There is a lot of work. Your city staff is going to have to gather so many reports and have everything ready for CalRecycle, plus all these other, activities that have to go on. So it's a really huge lift for jurisdictions.
Yeah, I'm that part about being unfunded. That is my concern, because we're a small city, and it looks to me that they're adding a whole new layer of administrative, another code enforcement person, somebody to administrate the program, and all these annual reports that we have to do. So who's going to pay for this? When we're a small city, is the county going to help fund this, or is the state going to find a way to fund the unfunded? Because I remember a few years back, we almost got dinged because they said that we weren't recycling enough cans, those recyclable cans. And as it turned out, we really were. It's just that people were going to recycling centers, taking, saving cans like a lot of us do. So it really wasn't that issue, and they had to, we survived that, but it looks like to me there's a whole nother layer of administrative costs and staff and personnel. So what's being done? What can we do as a city, or what can the county or somebody do to help pay for this?
And, Gardena is really, everybody is saying the same thing that you have just said. How are we going to do this? There was a notification from CalRecycle that they were going to do some SB 1383 grants, but they haven't defined what those are yet. I think they allocated, I can't remember the exact amount of money they allocated, but they allocated a huge amount of money toward SB 1383 grants, but they haven't defined, is that going to be for facilities? Is that going to be to help jurisdictions? Is that going to be for technology? So we don't know yet, but we're always looking to see if there is going to be some kind of funding. But at this point, there hasn't been anything earmarked for jurisdictions at this point.
It seems like to me that they're not clear on what this is going to look like once we get it off the ground, because I'm having some difficulty just envisioning what it's going to look like. Somebody going through checking my trash cans and all that. That's a whole nother person right there. So,
well, now that would be done by, we are incorporating, like I said, what we can delegate to the hauler. We are delegating, the city is planning on delegating to the hauler what we can during negotiations. So they would be doing that contamination monitoring, if during the negotiations that can be negotiated in there. So they would be assisting the city with that.
And then, of course, like a lot of things, that cost gets passed on to us, down to the city, and then down to the homeowner or the apartment owner, property owners. And so that's, I'm having a hard time with this, because we got to pay for this, and we're going to be penalized if we can't pay for this. So it just seems really be unfair. And my question to you is, where can we go? Who's going to help us with this? Because I mean, I understand about methane, and we got to clean up the air and climate change, and I'm all for that. However, when the state begins to implement these kinds of ideas of whatever it is, or legislate this kind of stuff, do they forget that we got to pay for this? And I mean, I don't mean to challenge you. I'm not disagreeing with you. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not, going after you, going in on you for this. But I just need to make sure that our voice is heard. And I know about other cities, but I live in Gardena, so I'm more concerned about Gardena than I it's just kind of because I live here. So I don't mean to feel like I'm going in on you, but I just want to know if you can take this message back for us that, state, I'm sure going to take, talk to our people, our legislature and senators and all that to make sure they hear this. But, it's just not fair to hand down this unfunded mandate that we're going to get dinged for and be penalized if we don't do it or can't do it. So I don't mean, you understand, I'm not going in on you. For this.
Oh, no, I'm not feeling it. No, I feel your pain. I completely feel your pain on this.
All right, thank you.
And I would encourage you to go to your legislatures, and your legislators with this for all of your concerns on this. Sometimes, I always say, Cal Recycle isn't in the solid waste industry, and they don't really understand everything that this, everything this entails, and then the costs that are going to be associated with this. But the hard part is that it did pass, and it was chaptered, and so now we are where we are today at this point in time of what we have to do.
Yeah, maybe that's something as a city council we may want to undertake as I don't know how to say this, but maybe something we might want to fight for funding for this if there's a possibility that we can do this.
And like I said, we're keeping our eye on those grants, and we'll certainly reach out to the city of Gardena if we find that there are grants that would be appropriate for the city and that would, give the city some financial relief. And then we will, definitely let them know about those. So then they can, you can pursue, if you feel that it's warranted, you can pursue those grants.
All right. Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public who wishes to speak on this here as well?
No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, can I get a motion to, we're going to be introducing this ordinance, but we need to vote on introducing the ordinance. So can I get a motion to introduce ordinance number 1837?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Begrudgingly, I'll second to introduce it.
Yes. Trust me, I understand. I want to add this to the list of SB 50, ADUs, MTA funding, all of these things. So I hear your concerns, everybody. But unfortunately, we knew this one was coming down the line here. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskinian.
Oh, yeah.
Councilmember.
Is he back on?
He's muted.
Okay. No, he was having some trouble earlier.
Yeah, I was having trouble with my computer to get shut down. But anyway, I don't know if I should say yes or no. So can I abstain?
You're muted, Carmen.
He wishes to abstain.
What was it, Carmen? I didn't hear you.
Councilman Kaskinian, you wish to abstain from the item?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay.
How about
Wait, Councilmember
Francis?
Councilmember Francis. Councilmember Francis. Sorry.
Okay, if you pass me by, but yes, this is a tough pill to swallow. But
yes,
I see we have no choice. So
right.
No.
To take back local control here.
Is that a yes, Councilmember Francis?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we have everybody. So 4 yes and 1 abstain.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so with that, we are going to go back to item number 12A. Mr. City Manager?
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 12A is ordinance number 1836, an ordinance adding a new chapter 15.60 to the Gardena Municipal Code, which chapter adopts by reference the Model Water Efficient Landscape Ordinance. Under existing state law, landscape projects with 500 square feet or more of new or modified landscape area are required to comply with the Model Water Efficient Landscape Ordinance, or MWELO. Projects must design, install, and maintain efficient irrigation systems, utilize low water use plantings, and set an annual water budget. MWELO was established to promote water efficiency for landscape projects. About half of California's urban water use is attributed to landscape irrigation, and through proper landscape design, installation, and maintenance, substantial water savings are achieved. MWELO was last updated in 2015 to increase water efficiency standards for new and retrofitted landscapes through encouraging the use of more efficient irrigation systems, gray water usage, and on-site stormwater capture, and by limiting the portion of landscapes that can be covered in turf. All agencies must adopt, implement, and enforce the MWELO or a more stringent ordinance. While the City of Gardena has not previously adopted the MWELO by virtue of Government Code Section 65595D, it is already in effect and since 2015 has been implemented by the city. In addition, proposed ordinance number 1836 also includes SB 1383 reporting requirements. Because the model ordinance is already in effect in the city, no additional costs will be incurred by adoption of this ordinance. What's required tonight is to introduce ordinance number 1836.
Okay. Before we go any further, I need to go back real quick, just for a second, just point of clarification. Item number 15A, this was the introductory, introducing the ordinance. I know we voted on it, but I think we just need to note that since Mayor Pro Tem was the one who, Tanaka made the motion, he will be the one introducing the ordinance for item number 15A. Okay. Got it, Mina? Okay. So I'm sorry, now we can go back to 12A. So thank you, Mr. City Manager. Do we have any questions, anybody, or comments on item number 12A? No? Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public who wishes to speak on number 12A?
No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Okay. That being said, then this is another one we're introducing the ordinance, but we need to vote on it first. So can I get a motion to introduce ordinance number 1836?
I'll introduce it, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Second.
Art.
Yeah. So Madam City Clerk, the motion was made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Councilmember Kaskanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember, Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
and Mayor Serta.
Yes. So in this one here, ordinance number 1836 will be introduced technically by Councilmember Henderson. Okay. So that being said, let's move on to council directives. Does any member of the council have any directives at this time? Councilmember Henderson, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I need some help getting some information. I was at a conference with the LA Orange County Broadband Consortium, and we were having a discussion in regards to expanding broadband into our community. I need some help with getting staff to work on a report to identify all our census tracts, and of those, which ones could be considered underserved, if we have any at all.
I'll second that.
Okay, one second. Are there any
That's
other?
all I have.
Okay, any other directives? Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Francis?
Some questions. I think, well, it wasn't, maybe a couple meetings ago, I asked a question about what would happen if something should happen to our city manager, heaven forbid. And whether or not, and then I began thinking about other departments as well, our Parks and Rec, Public Works, because we're a small city. And when one of our key players is, should, heaven forbid, something happens to them, I don't know what the plan is, and our departments really need to know what the plan is. So I'm wondering, I heard it called a succession plan. Do our departments have those in place?
You know what, let me do this. Let me second it, and I'd like to see if we can get a memo and if our staff can show what our succession plan is. That way everybody on the council knows, because we do have one in the event, heaven forbid, our city manager is out sick or, something like that. So we can get something, I'll second it so that we can show and the whole council is aware of what we would do in a situation like that.
Yeah, because I do have with in specific, just so you know, I'm concerned of when city manager was out for those 2 days at the conference, and Police Chief Michael Stoffel was the person in charge of the city. I'm concerned about that because we need a full-time police chief. I think Chief Mike Stoffel is a great guy. He has a master's in conflict resolution, well-educated. He's been with us for a long time because Madam Mayor, you gave him an award for being our, I don't know if you remember this, a reward for being our first community policing officer, our first district officer. Remember, that's going way back, okay?
Okay.
But yeah, still, I think, city manager, those, or even like a chief financial officers, those type of positions are skill specific. And I just want to make sure, because we've gone through this before. And I just want to make sure that we don't have to go through this again, just very recently. So I guess that's what I'm asking about. I mean, I know we have some type of plan in place. So I saw it happen. But I just wanted to make sure that it's going to make sense for us in the long run. And so we don't have to have a repeat of what's going to happen in the past. That's what I'm more interested in. So
I think that would be a good idea to do, because in my 12 years of being here on the city council, I guess I'm kind of like the senior person on this council. So I kind of know, because I've seen with Mitch, with Ed Madrano, now with Clint, how it's handled as far as when they're out, how we, even different directors, how it rotates around. And that way, maybe it will familiarize you as well with how we handle that. So I think it would be great to go ahead and prepare a memo just so you can be caught up and see, how this is done.
Just to be clear, I hear what you're saying. Just to be clear, I went through that, but I was on the other side of the
well, that's right. So you'll know.
I know, and I remember the upset, and there was a lot of confusion as a public person.
But I'm sorry, more specifically,
what we went through as a citizen, as just a stakeholder. So from on your end, it's like, okay, we got this. From our end, I'm like, I was thinking like, all right, let's put the brakes on. The police chief's gonna be running the whole city now. Come on, guys. So that was my concern. I'm just gonna tell the truth. I'm putting it out there.
No. And I think it's important that we're very transparent and that it's known. So I think it's a good idea bringing this memo up here, and then that way people in the community can understand how we as a city, how we're prepared and how we're ready to move forward. So, I mean, I sleep well at night knowing this. So I think you should in the community.
I understand. Don't get me wrong now.
No. It's a good question.
I'm not saying we're not prepared. Maybe I am asking that we do something different, or maybe take a look at a different avenue, and maybe that's what I'm more so looking at. Because I understand we are prepared, because we went, but just a different approach. Maybe what's needed is something different. That's all I'm saying.
Let me understand. So this directive then is you want to understand what the process is, or
I get the process, but
not first.
Something different.
Okay.
Yeah, something a bit different, because yes.
So not a bit different, but you want to understand what the process is in the event.
I understand what the process is.
You said the city manager or the chief fiscal officer is not here. You more specifically, is that what you were saying?
Any of our key players. I'm clear, because Donna, you were on city council, but I was sitting in the audience, so I've gone through it. So I understand what happened, but again, and I don't mean to take up so much time with this.
No, it's okay. I want to make sure everybody's clear and understand.
Mayor Serta?
Yes.
Can I respond to that real quick? I mean, I know I'm gonna prepare a memo on it, but when I go out on a trip, for instance, and I delegate city manager duties to, let's say, one of our directors, those directors, you go about their day and make some pretty light decisions on matters in the city. But if it comes to something that's of substance, let's say, hiring, firing, anything that has to do with the city as far as any substantive decision making, it is not a transfer of power from me to that person. It is still, if there's something that needs to be decided upon, they still would need to call me and get an approval to make those things happen. It's not something that it's not a carte blanche that they can make a decision on my absence. It's still, I delegate the authority, but the decision making still comes back to me when I need to make those.
Yeah.
So I understand the directive. Do you want us to come up with a plan, or is it an understanding of what we currently have?
I just need, I want to see something different. I guess that's what I'm saying. I don't know how to say it, but it gave me great concern. It really did. So anyway, we can move on.
My second would only be in the event if so we have clear understanding of how this goes out. It's not for an additional plan. So that would be what my second would be.
So you know what, that would be a good starting point. Let's start there. That'd be a good jumping off point for me. Thank you. I appreciate that, Madam Mayor. So
Okay.
that's a good starting point.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Any other directors at this time?
Yeah, I just have one more question. I know there's a lot of new bus benches going up in the city, and a lot of there seem to be some new bus stops. I know there's one right there on 139th and what's that, Normandy? So I was just wondering, could we just kind of figure out where there seems like to be a lot of new bus stops, things. I was just wondering if I can figure out where they're all going. If Mr. Crespo would, if there's a plan or just popping up here and there. So, or how many we're getting, so I have some idea of what we're looking like in terms of public transportation.
Okay, is there a second for that?
Yeah, we'll second that. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any more directors at this time? No? Okay, so let's move on to where we at? City manager's remarks regarding previous directives.
Mayor, sir, the members of the City Council, as far as my items, city manager updates, I do have a memo from the city attorney to all of the City Council regarding a directive by the Mayor Serta, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka, regarding flavored tobacco and tobacco retailers in Gardena. So you should have that in your packet. It's a comprehensive listing, and it's got an attachment of previously submitted report regarding Senate Bill 793. Okay, moving on to our announcements. Bear with me for a second here as we go through all of these things. We were getting into the holiday season, so we do have a number of different events going on. Can you see my screen?
We can.
Okay. So the first one is our dual event being held by obviously the Recreation and Human Services for Halloween. The Halloween Scare Zone this Friday, going to be on Friday, October 29, 2021. There's two locations, one in Freeman Park at 2100 West 164th, and then at Raleigh at 13220 Van Ness Avenue. The other event, as far as Halloween is concerned, is the Too Cute to Spook event. This is for, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Having technical difficulty again. Okay, so this is for ages 0 to 10. City Hall, come to City Hall for a fun-filled, safe night of trick-or-treating. Again, this is on Friday, October 29th, from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the City Hall complex. We do have a couple of community meetings that we are inviting the entire community. This is for a workshop to share your input on the future senior and aquatic center. This is going to be on Wednesday, November 3rd, the Nakaoka Community Center. Lunch at 12 p.m. and then a presentation at 1 p.m. On Thursday, November 11th, 2021, we're celebrating our Veterans Day service. Special day to honor those who have served and continue to serve. Thank you very much, Councilmember Henderson. Again, this is going to be on Thursday, November 11th, 2021 at 11 a.m. Our Helping Hands opportunity is presenting another live football event. This is going to be our tailgate here at the Nakaoka Community Center, 1670 West 167 from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Sunday, November 14th, 2021. The entrance is free provided you bring a minimum of 5 unexpired canned goods or non-perishable food items. All donations will benefit our Helping Hands program. Senior Citizen Health Fair. This is our 38th annual Senior Citizens Health Fair. It's going to be a partnership with the South Bay Family Healthcare Center and the Kedron Vaccines. We're going to be having a COVID-19 vaccine deployment here. This is going to be for seniors only, 60 and above, and also featuring various health screenings, health and wellness vendors, and then there's going to be some lunch and to-go items, also some raffle prizes. Sorry, this is going to be on November 19, 2021. We're also having another community meeting, and we're inviting our community to share your input as we create a master plan for our Mas Fukai Park. It's going to be at Mas Fukai on Saturday, November 20th, 2021, from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Light refreshments will be served. Also, for a Helping Hands opportunity, there's going to be a canned food and toy drive on November 20th, 2021. Come join us for our Wobble Wobble Before You Gobble line dancing event. Again, November 20th, 2021, Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Over at Raleigh Park. The Gardena Valley Lions Club in the city of Gardena invites you to the 14th annual Thanksgiving luncheon, Thursday, November 25th, 2021. The first seating will be at 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Second seating would be at 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. And it's going to be at El Pollo Inca Peruvian Restaurant at 1425 West Artesia Boulevard here at Gardena. This is going to be a free Thanksgiving meal for everyone and anyone in need. Helping Hands again, 2021, we're having a toy drive, supporting the city's Helping Hands program by donating new unwrapped toys for all ages, beginning Monday, October 18, 2021 through Friday, December 3rd, 2021. We need some items, all age toys, books, art supplies, board games, sport equipment, and gift cards. Donations can be dropped off at the following locations. The first would be at Nakaoka Community Center, and the second at the Human Services Department across the street at 1651 West 162nd. We're also having a senior bingo and raffle drawing on December 17, 2021. There's going to be two sessions, 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. Play for free and win lots and lots of prizes. It's $1 for 1 ticket, $5 for 6 tickets. And the baskets contents are going to be valued over $900. We're also having a winter wonderland here at the city of Gardena. It's called the Walking in a Winter Wonderland and Holiday Crafts Boutique. Stop, shop, eat, and play. We're going to have snow, crafts for kids game, hot chocolate and s'mores, holiday craft vendors, entertainment, and much, much more. The tree lighting ceremony is going to be at 6:30 p.m. p.m. on December 4th, 2021. And last but not least, holiday home decoration contest. The City of Gardena and the city's Gardena Beautification Committee invites you to participate in the city's holiday home decorating contest. Prizes will be awarded to the best decorated houses in the city of Gardena. To register and email your photo of your home along with your name and address to Gardena events at cityofgardena.org. Deadline is on Friday, December 11th, 2021. All right, couple more things as far as my report's concerned. I do have the pleasure of reporting two promotions in our Recreation and Human Services Department. As you can see, we are loaded with a ton of different events. First, I want to congratulate Janina Hartwell. Janina is going to be promoted to Recreation Supervisor. It's a quick bio for Janina. Janina was born and raised in the South Bay. In 2008, she applied to the City of Gardena as Recreation Leader, has been with the city ever since. Janina attended El Camino Junior College and played on their women's basketball team, where she utilized her talents coaching players and kids from city parks. Over the years, Janina has accomplished several goals in life, which includes becoming an assistant coach for El Camino Junior women's basketball team, graduating from Cal State Dominguez Hills, and being promoted to Recreation Supervisor. Janina is very passionate about sports and the city she works for, often volunteering to coach and mentor our youth. During her free time, she enjoys spending time with her family and friends and working out. If we can have Janina say a few words.
You're muted.
All right, Janina, you're up. You're first. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'd just like to thank Mayor Serta and our wonderful council. I've been here for the last 13 years and it's been amazing. And, it's nice to be able to provide for our community. So, I'm happy and hopefully we can keep providing for our wonderful community.
Good job.
Thanks so much, Janina. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so our next wonderful person that we're promoting is Amber Sood. Amber Sood began working for the City of Gardena in 2012 as a contracted employee working special events, but after 7 years of working in the private sector, she realized her passion for recreation and decided to switch gears. In 2014, she was hired as part-time rec leader. Her dedication, hard work, and attention to detail made her an asset to the department, and she was promoted to rec coordinator. As a recreation coordinator, she was in charge of coordinating events and activities for our community, and she continued to show creativity and focus to make Gardena the best place to live, work, and play. She will now have the opportunity to make an even bigger impact as she starts her new role as recreation supervisor, serving as a mentor to our new recreation leaders. Amber grew up in the city of Gardena, just around the corner from Freeman Park. She is a resident of Gardena along with her two toddler daughters, Olivia and Mackenzie. In her free time, she loves spending time with her family and friends and enjoys playing in the adult softball program for the city. All right, Amber, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Just want to say a quick thank you, kind of echoing what Janina said, but thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council, and City Manager for giving me the opportunity. I love this job and I plan to stay here till I retire. So I love working here and I appreciate you guys and I'm looking forward to working with you guys, continuing to work with you guys.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, last but not least, Mayor Serta and members of the council, I just want to greet our Chief of Police, Chief Mike Safel, a happy 50th birthday. His birthday is today, actually today. So I believe he's out of town. We kicked him out so we can have some fun. So he's not able to join us, but he's going to be viewing this council meeting later on. So just want to greet him a happy birthday.
Absolutely.
And Mayor Serta, that ends my report.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and begin with remarks tonight. We're going to first start off with Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll be brief. My apologies for being sick, for missing all those, the chili cook-off and the pancake breakfast and the harvest fair and everything. I had a little stomach bug, so I wasn't able to get out and everything. Since our last meeting, I attended the LA BizFed meeting, of course, my SCAG meeting, our district meetings as well. And then I attended the LA County Dominguez Channel Town Hall to gather some information for the members of our community that have concerns about what we were going to do, what the county's going to do in regards to the tragedy happening over in the Dominguez Channel as they work through that. I know it's been now declared a state of emergency by the city of Carson and everything, but I want our residents to know that your leaders are on the ball in regards to addressing the concerns for the city of Gardena. Madam Mayor, so ends my report.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Councilmember Francis.
Thank you. First of all, before I make any remarks, let me congratulate Amber and Janina on their promotions. I've known Janina a lot longer, worked with her than I have Amber, but I know them to be a great asset to our Recreation and Human Services Department. I'm so glad that they're part of our staff. So thank you, and congratulations, and looking forward to working with you more. But anyway, moving on. Since our last meeting, I attended the local South Gardena Community Schools presentation on the validated plan to improve Black student achievement. It was a very excellent presentation. They've set some measurable goals, and I'm looking forward to watching to see how that goes and doing anything that I can to help in that effort. I also attended a happy 96th birthday celebration for Mr. Richard Suzuki. I believe I heard he moved to Gardena in 1925, and he's been here ever since. And he's clear, and it was just a great celebration. And I want to give a shout out to the Gardena Police Department and our firefighters for making a special effort to add to the celebration. And you won't find that in other places. You know, Gardena is very special about celebrating and honoring our most senior citizens. And it was a great event, and I appreciated having an opportunity to meet him. And also want to encourage everyone. There's an environmental justice survey you can find on our city website. I encourage everyone to take the survey, participate in it. I did it, and it took me about 10 minutes. It's very easy, 10, 15 minutes of your time. It's very important, becomes a part of our housing element that's going forward. So please take a few moments and participate in our environmental justice survey and also to help make your concerns known so they can be included as part of the process so your voice can be heard. And I think that concludes my concerns. It's nice to see everybody again. Thank you so much. I participated. I'm one of those people that participated in the kiosk, COVID testing kiosk. It's very easy. You can just you scan on your cell phone the QR code, register that way. It's self-administered test, and it took, again, very little time involved. It took me about from start to finish about 10 or 15 minutes. They're open from Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3:30. The person that's working there is very nice, very easy to work with. And I got my results back I took a Saturday and I had my results back, my COVID negative results back by Monday. So I encourage everyone, you have some concerns, or if you're out there, even where you're vaccinated or not, please keep tested, particularly for those who may have that requirement for their jobs. So, and again, keep doing what we're doing, keep wearing the mask, washing your hands, practicing social distances. And I think we even see in our city, the numbers are going down. We're going to beat this thing. And just remember, better days are ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So briefly, attended the South Bay COGS legislative briefing where they had a number of legislators that came and talked about their bills and the things that were happening. A lot of it was about homelessness, about housing. SB 9 was brought up again, and some law enforcement issues were brought to the table. But it was very informative that day. I went to City Hall and witnessed my senior commissioner sworn in, Sharon Pamplin. It was a great day. She brought her mom and her son to celebrate that day with her and signed her papers. Attended the K-9 breakfast, the chili cook-off, and the Harvest Festival. So it was a 7 o'clock to 5 o'clock day. It stayed all day. It was a great event. Sorry, Tony came in second, but I guess next year he'll do better. Attended the League of California Cities roundtable discussion, and it was regarding reopening after COVID and during COVID. And a lot of the issues that were brought up were about bringing people back to work, how they were dealing with employees, whether they were mandating jabs or not, and some of the protocols. And I guess the bottom line is that we're all in the same boat all the way up and down California. So we just have to be more diligent about how we, I guess, we deal with getting shots and wearing masks and still social distancing. And today I was out City Hall representing, I think there were about 6 of us Elks at City Hall today, presenting a check for Helping Hands, and we got a photo op today in front of our Gardena sign. And again, our prayers to the Duarte mayor who passed away in his sleep. That ends my report.
Okay, thank you. And for myself, just a couple of quick things. First thing is I want to address the issue of the odor that a lot of people have been complaining about that first started off in Carson, and now people are starting to hear some, not here, but we're starting to hear some of the complaints that people even now in Gardena are experiencing the smell of this odor here. So just so you know, we just put out a PSA on just letting the community know, more specifically Gardena know, that we are hearing your concerns here. And I'm not for sure if it's on the front page of our website, but I know it's on our social media page as far as if you are experiencing some health effects from the smell of the odor, what you can do as it relates to any type of reimbursement. For instance, if it's too unbearable and you can't live in your home, we can, there's a website on there through the County of Los Angeles that gives information on how to put in a claim. And this came about because, again, as I said, we had a lot of residents who's began calling us about this problem. So I just want to give a quick thank you to our city staff because initially this reimbursement was initially only addressed to Carson residents, but now more specifically it's being addressed now to Gardena residents as well. So I believe the information, as I said, is on our website, and it gives more. I give a whole video as far as how to go about applying for that reimbursement if you feel like you've been impacted by that. So that's first thing. Second thing is, since last council meeting, I did attend some of the events we had, the Harvest Festival, great event put on. You know, I want to always give a shout out to those who were in charge of it, our Parks and Rec group who did that, did an amazing job. They had a quick little surprise party for Chief Safel, and from my understanding, he was completely surprised. So I just hats off to Stephanie Santini for pulling that off. So it was he was definitely very taken back by it. So I thought that was really awesome. I too attended the chili cook-off. This was our first one we had. And I want to commend the staff on just putting that together. For some time now, I've been hearing different people say, hey, it'd be great if we had like a cooking contest or a chili cook-off and so on. And so I was excited to see that this was our first year that we did something like this. I'm sure it will be more to come because everybody had a lot of fun with that. Just that whole competition portion of it, it was really good. So looking forward to seeing that in future years to come. Also, I attended my monthly meetings of sanitation district meeting as well as my CCGA meeting. And then on last Saturday, I also was a guest speaker via Zoom for an organization called SURF. And I'm sure many of you have heard me mention this before. This organization deals with autistic kids, and as far as how we as residents interact with them. And more specifically, they had their subject matter was how we can help law enforcement interact with those with developmentally disabilities. And I was given a great presentation from our police department on how our law enforcement officers are working with those who have these disabilities, more specifically autism. And I know the chief isn't here, but I think some of his captains are on. The group was so impressed by what we're doing right now in Gardena. And I don't want to give it away yet, but I believe the chief or somebody from the PD is going to talk about a new program that they're going to be pushing out in November, more specifically, that's going to help our officers identify any of our residents who have any developmental disabilities. So I don't want to give it away yet, but it's a great program. And in fact, City of Torrance was like, wow, we want to copy you guys. And everybody was really blown away by that. So I just want to say thank you to the PD for sharing that program with me so that I could share it with other cities as well as this organization SURF. And then also right after that, I attended the drive-by that was held for Mr. Richard Suzuki, the Korean War veteran who turned 96. He was very happy to see everybody come by to partake in some food with him there, sign his little card there. And I just want to thank the PD as well as LA County Fire Department for coming out there and not just driving by, but standing there eating and having lunch with him and just talking with him. So thank you guys for all being there. I know he really, really appreciated it. In fact, he kept saying, I don't deserve all of this, but at 96, yes, you do. You do deserve all of that. So that was really great. And then also, lastly, I too attended the Helping Hands photo op today. And I just want to thank all the organizations that donated to our Helping Hands to help feed those families as we approach the upcoming holiday season. And lastly, I just want to send a quick shout out to Chief Safel, happy birthday, as well as a congratulations once again to two of our employees, Amber and Janina. I always love to see employees get promoted and move up. I think it's awesome when you do great work to see them just go up. And I've been seeing them for a few years now. So I just want to say once again, congratulations to you guys. And again, I'm glad I was able to just kind of witness seeing you guys progress further. So with that ends my report. And next up is Councilmember Cascania.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last meeting, me as well attended the K9 breakfast. I just want to thank the community that they came and supported our K9 breakfast fundraising. And after that, I attended the chili cook-off, and I just want to congratulate our own fire department, fire station 158, LA County Fire, and all the personnel. They came in first at the amateur level, and Tony was runner-up. Congratulations to Tony too as well, Tony Dixon, or Anthony Dixon, I would say. And I just want to congratulate Leonard Kim to be the first on the professional side. So congratulations to Cherry Stone, Leonard Kim, and his staff. And Madam Mayor, I also attended the Harvest Festival, and I visited pretty much all the booths, and our own council member, Francis, she was there too with her Martin Luther King committee, and I visited them too as well, and basically everybody. So it was a great event. Thank you, Stephanie Santin and the staff. And I just want to congratulate Janina and Amber. I've known them for so many years, and as Paulette mentioned, they are a good asset to our city, and I look forward, Amber and Janina, to see your retirement from the city as well. So I look forward for that day. One day we'll see it. And I would like to congratulate our own police chief, Mike Safel, 50th birthday. Congratulations, Chief, and happy birthday, and for many, many more years. And that's my report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Just real quick, just one quick comment. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Wanda Love organized the birthday celebration for Mr. Suzuki. Okay. So that was her own creation. Thank you for that moment, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so one of the things I want to just kind of go back real quick, I believe we have a video for the Harvest Festival. If we could just show that now. I don't know which department's going to do it. Oh, there we go. Good job. Nice. Very nice. Before we move on to our adjournments, I did have, forgot to mention during the end of my accounts report, I'm going to be adding the name of, to the remembrances, the Mayor of Duarte, Brian
Urias.
Urias, thank you.
Urias.
Urias. We'll be adding his name to tonight's adjournment here. And we had one announcement out of all of those announcements here. There was one more you guys actually didn't get here. This is the Adopt-A-Fest here. Adopt a cat for only $5 from October 1st through the 31st. This includes adoption, microchip, vaccination, and spay and neuter. If you'd like to schedule an appointment to adopt, you can go to animalcare.lagov.gov/ all visits to the Animal Care Center by appointment only. Or you can just look up LA County Animal Care Control. So the Adopt-A-Fest here. Okay, with that being said, let's move on to adjournment. To remembrances here. Tonight we're going to adjourn in memory of Philip Felix Mendoza, who was 79 years of age and a 79-year resident of Gardena. Beloved husband, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and great-great-grandfather, who will be truly missed by all. Also, we're going to be adjourning in memory of Gloria L. Paisley, who was 58 years of age and a longtime Gardena resident. Also, we're going to be adjourning in memory of Michelle Turner, who was 50 years of age and lived in Gardena for 50 years. And then lastly, we're going to be adjourning in memory of the Mayor of Duarte, Brian Urias. Say that right?
Got it. Urias.
Urias. Thank you, Urias. Again, he was the mayor of the city of Duarte and passed away suddenly. So at this time, we're going to go on to adjournment. the Gardena City Council will adjourn to a special study session on this coming Thursday, October 28th at 6 p.m. And then later we will go to a closed session portion of our City Council meeting at 7 p.m., followed by a regular City Council meeting at 7:30 on Tuesday, November 16th, 2021. So just a special note, we will only have one meeting in the month of November, and that will be November 16th. So at this time, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Good night, all. Sleep fast.
Good night.
See you Thursday.
Thanks.